Hello, it's Mary from Education Worldwide, and you're watching Let's Talk About It, our podcast in which we discuss various aspects of online schooling. As you know, tonight or today, depending from which part of the world you're watching us, we have an interesting topic. Some might say it's a bit problematic, but let's face it, like cheating is old as long as the school is old. So everyone cheated, including me and I believe my guest here tonight. And speaking of guests, my guest tonight is our guest. I apologize. It's Mike. Mike, welcome. Hi.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
Yeah. But in a new environment, right?
Yeah, I like it here, actually.
Yeah, it's a bit different, you know, it's more...
It's been a long time, actually, since the last time, almost a year, I think.
Really? Almost a year?
I think it was in August, probably.
Yeah, maybe it was. But we were...
in the other studio.
Yeah, and there was a table and we were all gathered around the table. So,
like
yeah,
a
different
environment.
And you always hear her voice, but I forgot to mention her.
But
although,
you never see her face.
Yeah, here's Anita. Hi, Anita, how are
Mary.
you? So, what's up, guys? Mike, how's it going?
How's it going? Oh, I wish I could tell you. Things are heating up slowly but surely. The summer enrollments from last year are finishing up slowly, so a lot of things to be done.
So I believe kids are in full gas and
complete panic to finish everything on time, but there's no panic, we can solve everything. So
right.
That's always good.
So, but I believe they schedule more classes, individual classes.
Oh yeah. Usually classes with problem-solving things, usually the administrative things like, oh, can I have a week more to finish? And yeah, can you help me with this assignment? And we get it done in the end. It's all fine.
Great. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that we are here to help them. We have already our dear students and maybe even some parents in the comment section. So hello everyone, and thank you for watching us. Thank you for supporting us. We expect your questions during this podcast. If you have any suggestions, you're always welcome to share them. Again, thank you for watching us. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like this podcast, like all the other podcasts. Share them with somebody who might find them useful. This is also an invitation for everybody else who's maybe shy a little bit in the beginning. Feel free to ask any question in the comment section, and we will answer it during the episode. But let's go back to our topic, which is basically AI, chatbots, plagiarism, cheating in schools in general, but online school in this particular case. But as I mentioned at the beginning, like cheating is something that everybody has done, and from time to time it can actually be kind of cute when you see all the different ways students are trying to get a better grade or just do something. Mike, do you have your favorite cheating technique from the time when you were in high school?
When I was in high school, yeah, it's been a long time ago now. Oh God!
Don't let me start it.
Well,
I have one.
I have a dozen actually.
So you have experience.
Yeah, I'll keep to my persona here and be a respectable teacher.
Oh, okay.
with a respectable background. I'm kidding, of course. Well, cheating is, I'll call it cheating. Like, cheating is done in tests, really. But the thing is, when you're writing assignments, we tend not to be so, strict about it. I mean, of course, we know how our students do their work. We know even their style when they write, actually, and when we see that something is wrong, his punctuation skills are way better than usual. This vocabulary level is kind of unusual for him. We get some red flags ringing, waving red flags actually. But my favorite cheating technique, I don't know. I think.
No, what's the one that you used when you were in school? Yeah, I was thinking about that. Not to pick the favorite one from your current students, it would be a little bit odd.
Yeah, actually, throw anyone under the bus.
No, I'm not. Actually, when I was in high school, I think I never cheated. Actually, to be perfectly honest.
That's great.
When I think about it, I haven't. But back when I was in middle school, I have done some very questionable things during tests, but during writing assignments, I don't think that I have ever plagiarized or taken anything directly from a textbook and copied it onto my paper. Nothing of that sort, but tests, yeah, there has been some, crumpled up paper in my back pocket or something. Yeah, I didn't have that. I seen this reel, I think, on YouTube where they take a smartphone, they put it inside their pencil case,
and they
looks
put like a picture of
pencils,
of stationery,
Great.
and
they can just slide up to a picture and copy things. Ingenious, really.
When we were in high school as well, because I went to school with my cousins and we were all in the same classes, so usually there were like the science labs, you had the 2 long tables with 4 people, and when it came to exams, it would only be 2 people per table. So then it was a multiple choice quiz, and we had an eraser, and I didn't study, and of course my cousin studied. So I would write on the eraser like question 3, and then he would need to use the eraser and then write A, B, C, or D, and then but the best part was the teacher the whole time saw her, and she was just like,
but that's the clever thing, actually, you know. You know, I was pretty bad at cheating. I usually had the book under the table, and I was caught up every single time because, come on, you have the entire book under the table. But since I used to love and I still love writing, and I was good at it, I was usually the chatbots. Usually my cousins came to me and asked me to do their, assignments and write their essays for school and stuff like that. Yeah, but as I mentioned, those little cheating techniques, they're actually kind of fun, even from the teacher's perspective. But here and now, and even though I mentioned several times, students always cheat, but now with the AI chatbots, it seems like the thing has gone out of the hands. Not just for online schools, but for regular schools, for universities and colleges, because now everybody submits essay and assignments in Word document or PDF, or they use digital ways of sending their assignments. So Mike, when did we started noticing here in education worldwide that things are out of control?
Yeah, I think it was sometime in February or even January when there was this breakthrough with the AI technology and ChatGPT. Oh, this new technology thing, you can ask it anything and it'll give you anything. I think first in the beginning it was quite illegal, like people asking them how to build illegal stuff or how to do illegal stuff, but later on they put some certain restraints on it, and now it's completely politically correct. However, the thing that we're having most trouble with currently is noticing whether something is written by a bot or a human. The important part here is to know that while we do have certain techniques to see whether something is written by a robot or a human, it's not always 100% correct. It's still a developing technology, and the tools that we use to combat it is still in the process of being developed. So while we do make mistakes checking those things, they're not very common, but they do happen. The thing is, you can never really know now. You always have that kind of doubt when you're looking at somebody's work, but it's important to first read the entire assignment. And when you compare it to the time when we didn't have chatbots, we got to know our students and how they write, so we can compare that new writing style, which is, of course, now we don't know if it's AI generated, to the thing that they wrote before. So we can sometimes immediately see if something is AI generated. However, when we do notice that something is AI generated, we use certain programs that, of course, are not yet foolproof to tell us how much of it is actually copied from a chatbot.
Or a similar program. Because not just chatbots, but one of the problems that we used to face, and I think we even issued like a public announcement. When I say public announcement, I mean towards parents and students who are already enrolled, that we have noticed plagiarism, like they just found random article or maybe even Wikipedia, and copy paste everything that they found as their answer, which is again not allowed because it's a shortcut but not the useful one.
Yeah,
But
of course.
they're getting really smart at doing this, because we had one instance where, like, the answer, one of the students, she had found like a handwritten PDF on Google. So it wasn't even like a typed in Word or something like that. It was like a handwritten PDF. And then we ended up finding it on Google Images. Like,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, that's really weird. They're like submitting a lot of things. And speaking of different formats, I think our platform accepts like Word documents, PDFs, but I also know that sometimes our students, especially for, I don't know, for example, for artistic subjects, they submit photos, and I remember that we have AI generated photos or photos found in Google search. So what is the procedure in this specific cases when you find out that it's 100% plagiarism? Like, what is the procedure in school? Do you contact the parent, or what happens?
Yeah, so the thing is, students have started taking screenshots of their PDFs of their Word documents because it's then harder to get into track of those. You can't really copy text and slam it into a checker and see what happens next. That's where you have to get creative. One time, I think I literally typed out a paragraph or an essay that seemed very suspicious to me, but this wasn't a plagiarized thing. This was an AI generated thing, because the plagiarism would have been detected immediately, but AI things are still not detected immediately. So I literally typed out the whole assignment, I think, to see if it was AI generated, and it was not, which is surprising. I mean, it was surprising at the time. So, of course, it was graded normally, like nothing happened. However, there were cases where submitted screenshots and photos were definitely AI generated. Then to get a better understanding of the student and his intention behind the submission, we would ask him if all things are all right, to resend his submission in another format, for example, a PDF or a Word, that we can actually have a better look and see whether the student actually submitted it. I mean, done it with their own fingers. As for artistic works, I'm not too sure, to be honest, because
I remember like a year ago that we were like stunned with the photo, with our piece of art that the student has drawn, only to find out, and we like asked them to do for, I don't know, it was a certain holiday or something like that, and we should publish that, and imagine us publishing this, like, look what our students have done, and it turns out it was from Google Images, like, like a couple of simple searches gave us and I remember for that particular case that we brought to a parent and just said, like, hey, this is not okay, like, there's nothing that we can do, we cannot like punish the student because of this, but it's not the right thing to do, to steal another person's work.
For art, there is reverse image searching. You go into like a Google string, you open up the image in like editor mode or like admin mode or something like that, I don't know even how it's named, and you do a reverse image search and you can see if it's taken from online. Of course, they're very crafty, they can cut out the picture just slightly so that it has a different ID, so then we can't even get into track with it.
See, they're really smart. I'm telling you, they're getting good at plagiarizing.
And for the AI-generated art, that's very sophisticated because you can't go into track to that. I mean, it's
you can still track.
You can type in some prompts to the AI generation thing, and you get a completely original photo. You can even like tone up or tone down the level of sophisticality that the student wants in that picture. For example, a professional artist, they can like tone it up to level 10.
Let's not give them ideas. Joking, of course.
And they can like tone it down to an elementary school
Yeah.
child and then
Yes,
have
yes,
a
yes.
picture generated with their prompts. It's very ingenious, honestly, but getting into that is quite difficult.
Yeah,
And
I think
I
maybe
would-
we should try having them record them actually drawing.
Yeah.
As
Like
evidence.
record your process of
Yeah.
creating this piece of art. I
Nice
also
ideas here.
do you know, maybe I don't know, like I have faced this with some previously in my work, you know, for example, like when people use chatbots in this particular example, like writers, and if they use chatbots, they send me screenshots because I cannot run a screenshot, you know, I would have to type everything in so it's more work for me. Does that happen with our students? Like, are they scheming like that, you know, like just sending screenshots instead of sending Word documents or PDF or something where you actually copy and paste the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is, the students that were caught before plagiarizing, we have notes on that. Who is the regular plagiarizer? Somebody
Regular
who is
plagiarizer.
notorious for plagiarizing. I mean, of course,
Yeah, of
this
course.
is
We
just-
have...
Yeah, I mean, this is a teacher thing. Of course, we do have those things. For those kinds of situations where the student is notorious and they post a screenshot and it looks plagiarized, we're going to have some red flags raised. However, if a student has had no previous record of ever plagiarizing anything and they submit a screenshot that kind of looks plagiarized, we're not going to bother just yet, you know, until this thing repeats again
Yeah,
and again
it
and
becomes
again.
a
Then
habit
we're gonna,
and
then we're gonna be a little bit suspicious.
Okay, so here's Napa says, maybe you should pick a valedictorian from the graduating seniors, 12th grade. That's a great idea. We will think about it, of course. And maybe you should also pick notorious plagiarizer.
Award, exactly.
Notorious
In higher grades.
plagiarizer.
But okay, so you're the head of high school, you know, but we also had some middle school students. You said it yourself that in middle school you were more, you know, prompt to cheat and everything, you know. So who is cheating more? High
More.
school students or middle school students?
Well, I'd say equally.
Equally.
The
Boys
thi-
or girls? Girls.
boys or girls? Equally again.
So
There is
they're-
no
I
discrimination. No discrimination based on age. No discrimination based on whether you're in high school, boy or girl. Everyone cheats.
Yeah,
Everyone cheats.
yeah.
The thing is, for middle school, we're a bit more milder because it's important for the students not to feel discouraged when they have put work into their assignments.
Into plagiarizing.
We're still not calling it plagiarizing because they don't know yet the concept of it. It's important for them at this point to learn how to find credible sources, how to use them to their
Yes,
advantage.
exactly.
But later on, in I think 7th or 8th grades, they have in their language arts subjects units, entire modules dedicated to finding sources, paraphrasing sources, and citing sources using IPA or APA style. And that's the point where we start getting a bit more serious. When they have gone through those modules, when they know that it's a bad thing to copy entire paragraphs and paste them and claim it's your work. So
Yeah, because it's not the idea of them, you know, like searching this information and then just copying it into the thing, because it is correct. Like if they asked a question and they find it, like they've done half the work, but they just
Basically,
really
yeah.
need to paraphrase it in their own words and just learn how to be resourceful, not just lazy.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter which grade you're going to get, but that you'll actually learn and master a particular material, and that you know to discuss about it today, tomorrow, or you know whenever.
But not just that. I mean, we want to prepare them for like the real world when
Well,
they start
exactly.
working and they're given a task and they're not just doing it like that. They're actually
it is kind of boring. But let's be serious. Would you guys use chatbots now? Imagine that you're in high school.
definitely.
Is there-
I
You
would.
will?
I
You
would. And I have no shame in admitting it. If anything, it's actually a pretty good way to find additional information on the topic that you need. For example, you need to write an essay about the importance of I don't know, this and that writer in the 19th century. I don't know who this writer is. Let me type it into ChatGPT. Let me get some basic information. And I can even tell him to explain in simple terms or even bullet points. Brilliant.
So you suggest that you would use ChatGPT as one of the resources who can just, you know, put through some sifts all the information.
It's way better than typing keywords into Google and hoping that you find this amazing article that will explain everything. Much better to type it into GPT, get bullet points, nice, easy to read, compact, and then use it as a base. Of course, not copy it directly, but use it as a base to form your own opinion and then paraphrase it into your own piece of work. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I even would advise people to do it. I mean, not copy things, but use ChatGPT to their advantage, but not completely, you know, copy reams of text.
I have a dumb question.
Yeah.
How does ChatGPT function? Like, do you type in a full question, or do you give like
you can
a basic thing and then it generates it? Or
I've used ChatGPT for various different things. You can give it commands. Write me a short story using the words, I don't know, mug and table in it. And it'll literally write
a short
story based on that. You can give it a command, can you revise my text here and make it more professional, and then it will use more professional vocabulary in your text.
It's very tuned to the little details.
Very tuned, very sophisticated.
That's scary.
It is scary, yeah.
It's actually scary.
I think I once had a back and forth collaborative story making session with a chat GPT bot, and we made a brilliant story about a main character and a side character and their like journey together. It was the ideas that the chatbot had were frighteningly human. It was like I was talking to an experienced playwright when I was.
And it like gets the tone of the.
Yeah, you can even ask it to match your style and your form of sentence making, and it'll match your style and sentence formation and vocabulary and everything. It's scary. It really is.
Scary.
Yeah.
Don't use it.
So we have two different opinions. I remember like maybe a month or maybe a bit more than a month in our like internal chat groups in education worldwide, there was like a huge debate amongst tutors regarding how they should treat plagiarism and the AI chatbots, AI generated essays, and honestly, if I could just pause that here, or have everyone here and do this debate all over again, it would be one of the best podcasts ever.
It's a very controversial topic actually in the office. I think that we have come to a consensus in the end. And that is when there is a repetitive use of ChatGPT generated content or chatbot generated content or any AI generated content, like 3 strikes and you're out, you're not getting a retry, you have to contact your assigned tutor to get your grade fixed for this. I haven't had the situation yet that my students have had 3 strikes and having to contact me. And I don't wish that ever happens. But there were cases, I think, that a student had to contact their assigned tutor to have a look what's going on, if they're having any troubles, submitting their assignments, if they're finding the course materials too difficult, if they need any additional help, they're there to get to the bottom of why this thing has been done in the end. That's the main issue behind it, to see why the student has resorted to being lazy. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I have to say that there's a small party in the comment section, but it thinks that they talk about some things that are not related to this topic. They have their own ways of having fun. But I wanted to leave this for the end of the show, and definitely we will tell more about it. But I have to say that the education worldwide got its first student council. And we're very happy that students have organized basically themselves, and came to the idea to help each other. And you will hear more about the student council. Maybe in one of the future podcasts we will be able to include some of them, to talk about what are they actually doing and how they make student life in education worldwide better. And there's another news. There will be a student podcast as well that will be published on our YouTube channel in the near future. Again, more information about that will come in the following days. And now, if you have any questions regarding this topic, or I would love to hear what students think about the AI-generated essays and assignments, and have they ever done it, and what is their opinion in general. Maybe somebody from the student council who is there can actually give us some input. What do students say about this kind of stuff? Okay, sorry. Okay, so Basic Gamer Boy says, yeah, I have a non-relevant question I want to ask the program teachers. You can fully ask anything. It just needs to be related to the online schooling, and we will try to help you with the answer. Sorry for this commercial
technical difficulties.
It's the unskippable 15-second ad, I think.
Literally, if you don't upgrade to premium,
just keep rambling on. If you don't want to listen Mary talk about nonsense. I was joking. I mean, student council is not a nonsense. We're really happy and proud about it. And speaking of, what happens, because in the last, I think I will mention it until the end of the year, in the last 10 days, I had several consultations with parents whose children are going to middle school, and the children were crying because they swear they wrote articles and essays by themselves. Parents say, yeah, we were right there with them, and yet our programs have marked them as plagiarism and stuff like that. What is your advice how they should act? Is there something that can be done, or it's a done deal? So the program said it's a plagiarism and that's it, we call it
what are the steps? If you see something like red flag, it doesn't sound like them. What steps do you as a teacher take when grading that?
Yeah, so when I grade my high school language arts assignments, I don't immediately jump the gun and say that somebody is plagiarizing and not give them a retry or anything. In my feedback, I write, it seems that your work might be plagiarized.
Do you meet with them to discuss it?
Yeah, if the work does seem to me that it is plagiarized, they will, in the beginning, just in the beginning, to cast away that shadow, get a 0% in the retry.
Yeah.
However, it's not the end of the world. Don't throw away and delete everything that you have written. Take it slowly. Take this issue to your assigned tutor. Have them have a look at it. If you're really adamant that, and you're sure that you haven't plagiarized it, we might have made a mistake. It happens, of course. Not to mention that currently there is this disparity between the plagiarism detection and AI detection, and it crisscrosses, and it's very hard to either see whether the thing is plagiarized or AI generated, and then it's a whole mess in our heads and in your head, and everything, just spirals out of control. Let's keep it on the down low. Let's calm down. If you get feedback that it might be plagiarized, contact your assigned tutor. If you get a message that it might be AI generated, again, don't panic, don't throw your work out the window and start again. Contact your assigned tutor. With literally write it like this: I think there might have been a mistake with some grading of my work. Please, can you have a look at it? I didn't AI generate, I didn't plagiarize. You can do that.
What if, okay, another follow-up question to that. So when you're grading, I know when I was in university and we had 20% maximum similarity allowance. What is the percentage allowance? Because it may not be a case of them plagiarizing it, but not necessarily citing it properly. Because when you do cite it properly, APA style, Chicago, however, then even if, say, 3 sentences are cited, it doesn't pick up as plagiarism because you've cited it correctly and whatnot. So what percentage do you allow, and for certain grades, middle school, high school? Of course, middle school's more lenient, but in that sense.
Understood. So basically, up to which percentage? Up to, I guess, 80%. The more you plagiarize, the more it will affect your score. For example, if you have 20% of your work plagiarized, you're not getting a 20% deduction from your overall score. You're
No,
maybe
that doesn't impact the grade at all, right?
It does a little bit. It won't impact it corresponding to the amount of plagiarism.
So to what percentage are they able to not plagiarize, but say if they're not citing it properly?
Up to 60, I would guess. Up
without,
to 60
without
we can...
impacting their grade.
Without impacting their grade, up to about 20 or 30%. That's when I just, let slide.
Yeah, because I think that's where students are, responding to that, like, but I didn't plagiarize. And I think it just might be like not knowing how to cite it properly.
I suppose that's the case even when you have like a test and there are like different forms of questions, for example, multiple choice questions, but also essay type of questions. And if they plagiarize or use AI for this essay type of the questions, I suppose they don't get 0 and they're not or they do.
Now I get you. Yeah. Okay. I mean, if it's up to 20%, we don't bother. It's perfectly fine. We just have them, noted. There's a bit of plagiarism detected. Please be careful how you cite your works. If you have an exam, however, you have those multiple choice questions and you have your written...
Short answer, extended, all of that.
Yeah, and you have your written prompt questions. Those written prompt questions actually have much more points than the multiple choice questions. Up to 5 times as many points, yeah. My brain is trying to figure out English still. It's late afternoon.
It's not working.
For those questions, it really shouldn't be advisable for you to plagiarize them. It's much better for you, for those short written questions, to write them as best as you can in your own words. Because if it's a fact, sure, generally accepted facts in science or mathematics, which have a strict definition, you can feel free to use an online source, and it's completely fine. Of course, it would be better for you to close any other tabs and take it from your brain, but that's a topic for another time. However, if you have those, write a brief paragraph about the importance of, Walt Whitman's work, and I can definitely see it's taken from an outside website. I can see that the text is highlighted in a different color. I can see that... So
they don't even bother to fix fonts.
Fonts, I can see that it's taken from another website. I see it's plagiarized. I even have the source. You're getting 0 points for that particular question, not the entire exam. The entire exam will be graded regardless of this 0 points you get from that question. So if a student has, for example, plagiarized all of their written prompts and got all of their multiple choice questions correctly, I think they would get from 40 to 60% of the total score, depending on how many written prompts they have pulled out of the hat, because sometimes you get 2 questions and sometimes you get 10. So it highly depends how your randomized exam will look like. So that also plays a part. But we can't really check for plagiarism if it's a multiple choice question.
No, I understand. Of course, they cannot plagiarize maybe these kind of questions, but I was thinking about this essay type of questions.
What about, sorry, Mary, what about if a student plagiarizes from another student? Say we're 2 students and I give you my assignment or anything and you just copy the whole thing without changing the name, because that's happened as well.
That's the biggest no-no you can do, I think.
Yeah, like at least change the name. But if it's like, like, how do both of them get?
That's the biggest no-no that can happen, I think. We've had situations like these, of course. I've had situations like these, not with my students, but I've seen, I remember this introduction. That seems way too obvious and way too familiar. The student that first submitted the work probably submitted it like a few days in advance or a week in advance. And because our students hang out probably outside of classes as well, they hang out on Discord, on Zoom, and they're friends, in real life aside from school. They probably help each other, and the student that gets help from the one who has already finished this assignment just sends him the whole work, and the other student who doesn't feel like doing it, probably submits the whole thing.
Yeah, later.
Then you get the 0% and no retry.
Also, you're failing like a lot. You need to learn a lesson. Like
Yeah,
a
you
hard
need
one.
to go back to the lesson.
Yeah.
You need to go through the lesson again. I mean, for your own sake, not for our sake.
Of course, of course.
What about the student that gave the work? Do they get like any deduction?
Any deductions from their
Are they
already
like,
submitted score? No.
No?
From if this thing repeats in the future, I think that their marked activity will get nullified.
because another example, when I was in high school and I took my exam and I gave it to a friend of mine, and he copied, he actually had the paper in his lap
And copied your...
and copied it. Like he was, because he was sick, so he was doing it another day and he had to do it out in the hall. And he didn't even bother like hiding it or anything. So then we both got in trouble.
Yeah.
That's why
I once, but I was like second or third grade of elementary school, and I forgot to do my homework, which was writing like an essay, a short essay, like how did I spend my summer vacation or something like that. And I came to the school, and actually I started reading. I was holding my notebook, and I literally imagined the entire article, the entire essay. And of course, the teacher noticed that, and she gave me 5. I mean A, and she also gave me F at the same time for getting my, but it was like, a measure of precaution, just, nothing serious. But she, told me that I'm very, creative for, being able to
trick,
read out of the blank piece of paper and read it, like non-stop, nothing like it was written. But hold there for a minute. We have some questions. So Kiki asks, but what do you think about when you're writing in Google Docs and it corrects it? And Jumana adds on that, yeah, because I have a correcting software and it sometimes gives you a sentence that is better than the one you have. It will change it. It is AI generated though. So I do believe this is allowed. But
this is allowed,
can you also give them like a few, and of course Basic Gamer Boy says he uses Grammarly. Can you give advice to students, like what are some of the softwares or tools they can use for grammar correction and maybe the sentence style or things that...
Yeah, Grammarly is completely fine. Of course, if you misspell the word, that's fine. Grammarly will fix it. If you have the wrong order of words in a sentence, Grammarly can fix it, that's fine. If, however, you are using something to generate words that you have not input, that's not fine. So only the words that you have input, or maybe if a phrasal verb has been done wrongly, then it's fine. Grammarly fixes that. For example, you haven't written taken in, but you wrote taken by or something like that. I don't know, I'm just making things up. But if Grammarly fixes it, it's fine. It should be completely fine. I mean, there's...
Well, they should be careful. As somebody who used to use Grammarly often, they sometimes know to change the entire meaning of your sentence.
And
so you don't have to listen to it blindly, but you can use it.
Yeah, but it's still like if your point is the same, then I think that Grammarly fixing your sentence and rearranging maybe even whole sentence chunks is again perfectly fine.
Basically, read that sentence and see if it's okay, if you like it better, if it didn't change what you wanted to say. You can freely use it, but try to learn like what Grammarly teaches you. For example, for me, it was putting sentences into active, rather than being passively told, So that's something that I learned by using Grammarly in writing as a writing style technique maybe. So Basic Gamer Boy says, no, I used to use Grammarly to specify. Okay, sorry, I apologize. But there's no harm in using Grammarly after all. Okay, this is starting to be a very interesting topic for us and for the students, I see. But I have to ask, like, what is the worst thing that can happen for a notorious plagiarizer or a person who uses AI-generated essays? Like, do we have defined on the school level what is the worst thing that that can happen? Can they fail a grade, or can they be expelled from school, or do we ask them to do tests and answer in person through Zoom meetings instead of submitting?
Yeah, like academic misconduct. Like what scale of academic misconduct would they fall under?
And okay, this is getting highly theoretical here because we haven't had a situation like that yet, and I hope not. The worst thing that I can imagine somebody doing would be to completely just copy everything from the internet and ignore all the warnings that you have been getting for all of your assignments, and you finish your courses with 0% on all of your written assignments and submit your participation, and then you get like a 40-50% score and then complain about it. That would be the worst thing that you can do. If you still claim that you have written your assignments and they are definitely plagiarized, there might be a situation where we would call a student on having to answer, not to us, but to present their knowledge face to face. That would be an extreme case, and I don't think that will be happening. I don't think anyone is that oblivious to the fact that they are just copying and being lazy. But I think that would be the worst case. Only in that case would we probably call somebody for an oral evaluation.
I was going to say, like, if I was grading it and it was my student and they're like completely denying that they plagiarized, I would do like a pop quiz and test them
immediately. Anita has her own academic
methods.
That's why I'm not
academic rules and methods on how to check if a student is cheating. Okay, so Nala asks, her parents are asking if changing tutor is allowed. Well, technically it is allowed, but it depends what are the reasons. So in that case, you need to contact your consultant and
which is me.
Talk to them, which is Anita here present, but she will not be able to answer to your questions right now. No, but seriously, tell your parents they can book a meeting with her or write her an email, and she will help you out with anything.
Actually, we have a meeting tomorrow.
Oh, you have a meeting tomorrow, so okay, now you know what the meeting is about. You can prepare. Okay, Mike, I wanted to ask you, did you have like any, right now you answered about some extreme cases, what can happen or what are the possibilities, but did you have like in your experience in education worldwide, or if you're familiar with some extreme cases where a student was like stubborn for so long, didn't want to listen, and we had to go to some extreme measures and reaching out to his parents and stuff?
Yeah, we've had this last year. I think Bo and I had quite a bit of a discussion on this,
yes.
how we should approach it.
That was the student that copied the handwritten
assignments. Yeah. It was getting quite serious at one point. We were contacting parents multiple times. I think in the end the student, I'm not sure, but I think they backed down and then decided to sit down properly and do it all properly. I think that was the case in the end.
We also had another case, maybe it's a different one, where she or he, I don't even remember, it's not even important, but they had literally gone through a whole semester in such a short amount of time that was like a major red flag.
Major red flags, yeah, and that's also one thing.
Yeah, and this was someone who had started with us, had a little bit of a language barrier and needed that like one-on-one time with the tutor, and out of nowhere they just completed everything. It wasn't even like a language barrier issue. It was more like they needed extra help because they didn't really understand that level of academia just as yet. And then when it came to the point where the consultant had brought it up to the parents and whatnot, it was denial from the students' point of view. And then they said, okay, let's do we'll pass and acknowledge everything if we have a kind of a verbal and oral exam based on all of this. And then again, denied.
Well, if you're cheating, you don't want to be caught, so
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna interrogate you when we call you to a meeting. We're just gonna talk. I mean, we're just gonna get to the bottom of it.
Exactly.
Did you plagiarize? You can explain and tell us
Exactly.
that even if you did, it's not the end of the world. We're not gonna
Exactly.
expel you or anything.
Exactly, and that's what we want to kind of stress here, is that even if they do plagiarize, let's just sit down and let's talk through
fix it right now on this level, because when
exactly.
they reach out universities and colleges, I mean, being
Absolutely.
expelled is something that can happen if you plagiarize other
Yeah.
people's work, and it's simply not going to be good for your future career.
Yeah.
So again, we have another question. Well, we have some really fine students. They're using all these useful softwares. They're not like AI chatbots and ChatGPTs and stuff like that. So Jumana says, we talked about this with Mr. Sergio because I use paraphraser or summarizer to understand it more, and then I paraphrase it myself after that. Is that allowed? So,
yeah, completely, definitely.
So
Yeah,
you heard it from another tutor, so you can freely use this. So let us summarize this. Don't use ChatGPT and similar programs, and don't just copy paste straight from the internet, regardless of the resource. It can be the best article ever. Just try, even if you read that article, try to, tell the story in your own words. That's how you're going to practice your English writing skills, English skills in general, and of course you will do good your essay or the assignment. So I think that's the bottom line. Okay, we have another student, I suppose. He says, it's Ahmed, and he says, I use AI chatbots like ChatGPT for inspiration, as I feel like it can help me start writing. Would that be okay? I think you almost answered that at the beginning. Like they can, if you use it just for that, to summarize some topic for you, but then you take some key points out of it and write it in your own manner, I think it's completely allowed if you don't want to go through thousands of articles on Google or whatever resources that you have. Wow, we have a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's my guys from the book and movie
opened up
clubs.
a can of worms.
Jumana says, also shout out to the podcast. I hope you think about our podcast or the one that you and your friend are going to do, but okay, shout out to every one of us. So let's see how that works out. Cody Ocean says, so I take graphic design, and if I use the AI to give me an idea, or if I take a little from what it gave me, is that allowed? Well, I think you should go back to the beginning of the podcast to hear what we talked about. Several students say, hi, Mr. Mike.
Hi, whoever it is.
They have like a challenge here.
A fan club.
Everybody's
Yeah,
saying, hi, Mr.
they're
Mike.
vying for my shout outs here. And I promised them that, so shout out to
Nala, Kiki, Ahmed, Alexa.
all of them. Yeah, Ahmed, Kiki, Nala,
So Mike
Alexa,
says hi to
Jumana.
everyone.
Yeah.
Look at me, I'm speaking to a camera like they cannot hear him. No, I'm the one who lost track of where I am and what am I doing. Okay, great. This was a fun episode.
Yeah.
Mike, is there anything you would like to add on this topic?
Any final words?
Final words like last time? No, I better leave right now. Yeah, the thing you said about red flags, that's a good thing you said, actually. Somebody finishing their course in a month, for example, submitting 25 things a day, even like very proficient and experienced students have, if they sit by their computers 24 hours per one day, they might submit like 10, 15 at the most.
And it's really important. Now I'm going to do it from a consultant's point of view, and regarding the whole high school, especially in high school, this is where it gets really important, is that when students finish with us, and we are completely self-paced, and there's no doubt about that. Students can finish before 10 months, they can take longer than needed, but when it comes to university admissions, and when it comes to like scholarships and all of this, when we give your transcript, we have like the generated time spent on that. So if you're breezing through it, and that enrollment period and completion period, if someone from a university, now this may or may not happen, but
they can take a look at it.
They can take a look at it, and they can question, okay, why did this student finish a whole semester, which is supposed to be 4 months or 5 months, in 1 month?
Yeah.
And then the student, say for example, they sat by their computer 24/7 and worked through that, they can still be questioned, because then the university will, go through all these like protocols to try and see if that really is the case or if they just plagiarize. So that's why we encourage, take your time. There's no rush.
Yeah, I think we have a student who has done that in the first semester. I think he finished the first semester in 2.5 months, extremely fast. And I know that he is a good student. He doesn't plagiarize. He's brilliant, actually.
Yeah.
And then in the second semester, he took his time. He chilled out. He told me that I spend like 30 to 40 minutes a day, and I just do 1 or 2 assignments, because now he has 7 months to finish the second semester. And he's like taking it very easy, and he finds it much more relaxing. He thought that he should do as much as possible during the first semester. He like panicked mode, to the maximum, like to finish everything on time. I mean, ahead of time. And now he's like, yeah, I'm chilling out perfectly fine. 7 months, yeah, I'll breeze through it in my own time.
Mom and Dad are paying for 10 months, so it's okay. Maybe we should tell him that if he finishes earlier, his parents won't have to pay the rest of the school year. Okay, so Jumana asked, how does the diploma look like? Very good. I mean, it's behind me, but I'm not sure we can zoom in, but I will be able to send you the sample of our high school diploma via email, because I'm not sure, I'm not allowed to touch these examples behind me, otherwise I will probably...
The producer will get really angry.
The studio will collapse. But I will send you a sample of our diploma. Is it a regular high school diploma that's
nicer
later or what? Okay. It's a fancy piece of paper, and it's basically something that you can use to hang up on a wall. It has the validity of a regular high school diploma. But what universities and colleges are asking for is the transcript, because the transcript is a document where you have the information about the subjects that you took, grades that you got. There is a teacher comments, about every important details, and of course, as Anita mentioned,
the grading scale.
The grading scale. Everything is on the transcript. So basically, diploma is something that you can really put on your wall. It's, as I mentioned, a fancy piece of paper, but the transcript is the thing that is important. But even with the diploma, if you submit it, of course, it's a valid document, and it's equal to any high school diploma that you would get in an American high school, whether it is a traditional school or an online school. It doesn't really matter, because this is a story from the beginning, basically, that we are registered in the Florida Board of Education, and that all our documents are recognized and accepted worldwide. Cody Ocean says, how can we gain the English proficiency letter from you guys? Because most universities ask for it. Anita, do you have but I don't think that universities are asking proficiency letters from schools. I think you should do these various tests that
there's like IELTS and all of that. But
IELTS and Cambridge and TOEFL exams.
Yeah, that's all done, and you can find that on their websites and
British Council websites.
Yeah. So that's done separately. People think that because we're an online school, we do IELTS and all of that. We do the high school program and the middle school and the elementary school. So we
don't
provide your education. But for proficiency of English and all of that, to get a TOEFL certified or IELTS or whatever, it's best to do it directly through them, because they are the ones that administer the certified document saying that. Yeah,
and so far all our students who have finished the school, and we're trying to, and eventually we're accepted to universities. Universities usually around the world, not just in Europe or in Asia or in the USA, colleges, they usually ask, if you are not from the USA and you finished American high school, for example, you're coming from Europe and you go to the US and you want to apply to their college, they will ask some test that is outside of the school. They're not asking for a school to provide such letters, so you have to do this test. But as Anita mentioned, the best thing would be to check on your desired university, what are their requirements, and you can contact us if there's something we can do to help. We will gladly do it. Again, Jumana asks, it doesn't have a cover that it goes inside of. Yes, it has a very nice, really nice navy blue cover, I think, if you don't change it. But I don't have a
border.
Yeah, like it's really beautiful.
Actually, I think on our Instagram page there is a picture of one of the students
holding
it,
a high school diploma. Yeah, maybe that is. Basic Gamer Boy says, okay, bye, shout out to everyone. Good night to all people for who it's night. Okay, goodbye to you. We are going to stay a little bit longer. Ahmed is asking, is there any type of SAT prep? At this moment, unfortunately, no, because the SAT prep is a very how can I say?
We don't actually have an SAT prep course, but I had a consultation with one of my families the other day regarding this. And the best advice that I can personally give is downloading past papers. Because I did that when I took the HSC in Australia. It's called the HSC. And you just practice past papers. And if you have your one-on-one classes with your teachers, schedule, sorry, there's a mosquito, it's back. Schedule like a one-on-one class with them because they can go through like exam papers.
Yeah, with that. But it's really extensive and we have tried to do it, but at the end, in the end, we figured out, at this moment, we are not able to conduct SAT prep at the level that we would want to.
Yeah, not as an actual course, but you can always, like I said, download past papers and attempt them, and anything you're not sure of, you can always ask one of the teachers to go through it with you, and then it's basically stuff that you're learning in school, so nothing will be foreign. And we are here to help. So.
Great. Well, I hope, guys, if you have any other question, please ask them in the next few minutes because we're wrapping up this episode. But before we close this this show, I wanted to ask Anita, what's new? How the enrollments are going? We have the enrollment.
It sounded like you were going to announce I won a prize or something.
Well, you won a prize of our consultant with the highest enrollment. So highest enrollment number. So we are actually enrolling students because we have open enrollments throughout the entire year. And I think we have in case there are families who are not enrolled but they're looking to enroll, maybe it's a good thing that we tell them that we have a discount for the pre-enrollments during June.
Well, yes. So we, up until I think it's the end of June, so for this month, we do have a pre-enrollment discount. So it's not just regardless if you're doing upfront or monthly payments, we are doing an additional 10% off that. So even if you're doing monthly payments, we would do a 10% discount. If you were to do full upfront, then there is the full upfront 10% and then an additional 10% for pre-enrollment. And yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that the student has to start right now. It just means that they can start in September, and then the next invoice would be in the second month. So yeah.
Okay, and we also have a prime program for elementary and middle school.
Yeah.
That's also new. I mean, for the middle school will start as of September, so parents can also opt for that option if they would like to experience a full-time online schooling with more strict schedule of classes and things like that. You can find all the information on our website, and the website is linked in the description of this video. And again, I'm going to ask you to like this podcast. If you haven't watched the previous ones, you can go back. You will find many useful information about how things work in education worldwide. And I hope that in the future months we're going to bring a lot of good topics and answer some of the questions that are let's say important for families, for students and their parents. Okay, so if you guys have anything to add,
just
for the end?
One slight thing. The things we have mentioned about AI.
You remember something?
Yeah. The things we have mentioned about AI, it's a new thing. It's a thing full of problems, full of holes. It's still a problem not only for us, but for the academic world. Everything you have heard, take it with a grain of salt, because there might be change. Who knows, maybe AI will become the new norm of studying. Who knows, maybe it'll become how we write essays. But for now, it's like this, and
We're still old school.
we're still old school.
We're like modern old
Online
school.
school, but all
Modern old school.
Yeah, so it's a changing thing. It might change, it might not, but for now, it's as it is.
Yeah. Okay, so Cody Ocean says, shout out to Miss Anita again. I forgot to mention the previous shout out to you by
Thank
him.
you.
So, okay, thank you, Mike, and thank you, Anita, and thank you everyone who watched us by your screens. See you next month. And as I mentioned, we have a lot of news with Student Council and student life in education worldwide. So stay tuned, whether it's through this podcast or on our social media or even our website. And if you have any questions, you know how to reach us. Okay, bye.